Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Combe TV. We're back and full in effect. Chin Jin, cheers to you all. Welcome. I can see our first guest is in my backstage. Evening, Line D. I can see you there, mate. You're all good. I'm ready. Welcome, everybody, to the show. And I can tell there's a few of you are quite excited about this weekend show, aren't you? It's safe to assume. Let's catch up with a few of your comments. In nice and early. Tim Perry, dilly, everyone. Here we go again. So excited for Saturday. Bring on the TCR UK. Absolutely. Emma Brown, evening all. Looking forward to being back at Combe on Saturday. Looking forward to it. Obviously looking after the Formula Fords. Phil Kinch himself, drinks at the ready. Anyone would think I was a bad influence. Good man. Careful, that means the boss knows that you got a drink at the ready as well, mate. But I was asking whether you were ready. Tim Perry said, let the show be gin. Absolutely. Carl Olden, evening all. I hope the youngsters out racing this weekend, mate. Chris Pearson, good evening, folks. Can't wait for Saturday. John Green says, evening all. This is what I love about this weekend. Everybody's going to have their favourites. Gillian Rose Hastelow says, Ampwater Nils, Dilly, TRC number 11. We now know who your favourite is. Cupo, the champ, the saloon champ. Evening, guys. He's joined us as well. I love this. One of the Quarry Hardcore. Goose is in the house from Sunny Pool. He's on holiday. He's coming back on Saturday, risking the wrath of his good lady to watch the TCR, etc. at Combe on Saturday, but he'll be back in his usual place. And he's watching as long as the connection lasts tonight. Good man. Appreciate it. Ignore, evening, everyone. Really looking forward to Saturday and the return of TCR. Absolutely. With a cider in hand, fixing MX-5s, ready to race, says Elliot Harris. Good man. Stuart Tinker Taylor. Good evening, Chris. My Fuffer lover. He does love his Formula Fords. There's the Camp Softcore boy there. Looking forward to the weekend as a Camp Softcore fan. It's easy for me to say. Pete Spiller. Evening, Dawsey. Oh, you do remember my name then. What was the last comment I saw from you? Chris who? I saw it, mate. And if I remember rightly, you're the one that's been busy for the last couple of shows, mate. Evening, Dawsey. Can't wait to hear your dulcet tones over the tannoy again and excited to watch the TCR. Seems ages since we have raced. David Williams says, hi, Chris. Dom Hazel. Evening, Mr. Dawes. Evening, Dom. You're all right, mate. Emma Brown confirms the gin. Absolutely. Gin, everybody. Evening, Dave Rogers. Now, Dave sent me a photo. He's actually watching this whilst on the treadmill. Now, that's commitment for you. Good man. Lewis Bird, Motorsport. Hello, all. I can't wait until Saturday. Dilly. Are you out, mate? Because you were hoping that you were going to be fit enough to be out again. Are you going to be there? Chris Savage. Evening, Chris. Sorry I missed you at the weekend. Sorry that your gearbox blew, man, in that Caterham. You were looking really good around the Silverstone GP circuit. I'm gutted that happened for you, mate. Sean Deacon, evening. Oh, evening, Sean. Rob Drew, evening, nearly Saturday. Absolutely, we're nearly there. Darren Duffield, evening. Going to be some great racing Saturday, including you, mate, of course, in the hot hatches. Tim Perry, nothing new there, Dorsey. What can I say? Keith Rain, good evening to everyone. Here's to a good race meeting on Saturday. Absolutely. Can't wait for the Forge Action Day, says Ryan Lee. Well, you want to get down on Saturday as well, I tell you. You're going to love Saturday with everything going on there. We'll be there in Orange on Post 12, John Green. Thank you in advance, mate, for all of your hard work, all of you in the Orange Army. We always say the same thing. We can't do it without you all there. Phil Kinch says, well done, Goose. Formula Fords are the best, says Emma Brown. That's because you're the coordinator. Jake Robinson, evening, guys. Can't wait for this weekend to see the cars blasting around the track. They are the truth at the bag. I've just seen Lines. He's got wine in hand, red wine in hand. That looked like, mate. You're all right, Kinch. He's got a drink as well, mate. So it's fine. Martin Bennett, hello, mate. We'll see you down. You're on Com 3, aren't you? Doing the interviews, Bennett. Evening, boss. See you Saturday. See you there. Matt Coyle, good evening, everyone. Can't wait for the weekend. Let's go racing. I will be with you in a minute, Stuart. Hang on. Joe Hathaway says, evening all. Hope you're all well. Late one working on the Clio tonight, trying to get it ready for the end of August. Okay, you'll be there for that one. Good man. Great way to spend my evening working on the race car and listening to Mr. Dawes. I feel like I should apologise for that, really. Simon Blaze says, Marshall at post 3 this weekend. Grids look fantastic. They certainly do. Thank you, mate, for all you're going to do. The Herminator. Evening, Chris. Can't wait for Saturday. Serious withdrawal symptoms. I know the feeling, mate. I know the feeling. Kieran, see you Saturday, mate. Watching, but the car is coming on well. Nearly going to get you out, are we? Come on, man, get it out. Dan Williams, even though see you Saturday. My dad, good to see you, son. Such a pleasure having your wonderful daughter down here with me and your mum. She's down with grandparents this week, so we've had a rest. That meant we were down the spa last night. I mean, the gym. We were in the gym last night. Jamie Bigwood, looking forward to dusting off the Clio for another great-sized hot hatch grid. Absolutely. Ben Hindle, evening all. And you won a ticket, I saw, Ben. Well done, mate. That's wicked. Can't wait to see 101 Max Hart from All in Salco Hygiene. So Salco Hygiene Ireland. Well, he'll be on here in a little while as well. Lewis Bird said, yes, I'm out. Finally, the car is ready. Thanks to Grant Motorsport. Well done, mate. That's brilliant news. Oh, Emma Strawford, great to see you here tonight. I know you weren't sure whether you would. Recovering from the dreaded COVID. Get well soon, Em, and good fighting. Dom Hazel, hope the gym went down well. Looking forward or apprehensive to your return gift. You're safe this time because I've been too hectic. But this is the last of it. I've actually saved it deliberately for this show. So thank you, Dom. It is an absolute beaut of a gin, that one. So thank you, mate. Appreciate it. Ollie Cole says, doing the track day Friday and come to watch on Saturday. Combe weekend. Good man. Good to see you out on a track day, mate. We want to see you back out in a race car, though, Ollie. Phil Kinch, Linesy on wine. Oh no, mute button, quick. I'm on diet 7-Up cherry. Seriously? I think Lines is going to be more disappointed you with that note, to be honest with you. Ding dang do dilly dilly, says Jed Doyle. Wow, I managed to get that out first time as well. Mike says, sorry, dinner overran. You're all right. We're still getting through the last of the messages. We're nearly there, Stuart. Looking forward to being with the Orange fam, says Aid Marfell. Good man. Thank you in advance. Tim Perry, another Orange Army. I'm at post 6 Saturday, waving the flags. Good man. Clive Woodward, my co-commentator for the weekend. Hi, Chris. Looking forward to being at Old Paddock on Saturday. Should be great racing. Absolutely, mate. It's going to be great. Good to see you back again. Jed Dawes says, just saw TCA numbers are at 20 drivers so far. I'm sure we had more last time. No, that was it mixed in with another group of cars as well. Hope we get more. That is good. So don't worry about that. That's good numbers on the TCR. Hi all, better late than never, says Mike Cotton. Welcome back, mate. Good to see you there. On the Thatcher's Gold, says Emma. That's how you knock COVID out of the house, Emma. Well done. Ollie Cole, depending on how Friday goes, I'm hoping to be soon in a race car. Oh, I like the sound of that, mate. Well done. Phil Martin, hopefully all my wonderful Castle Combe friends are. Is that like, what's that game where you got to fill in the blanks? We played it last weekend. It got really out of hand. Playing a gig with my band Darklight Horizon in Tewkesbury Friday night, so I might be a little croaky on Saturday. As long as me and Clive aren't, and Martin Bennett aren't, we're okay. Goose says, great to see Scooby racing with Ant. Definitely be cheering him on. If you could see his picture, you know he's a big Scooby fan and he's got one. Final message, Kurt Stavro. Good evening, all. This is my first time at Castle Combe. I cannot wait for this. I seem to be addicted to TCR. I don't blame you, mate. I really don't. Right, let's get our guest on. He's been patiently waiting in the lines, should I say. Good evening, Stuart. You all right, mate?
Good evening. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm very good indeed. Thank you for waiting so patiently there, sir. I do appreciate that. Let me put you as the slightly bigger picture there. I knew you wouldn't mind that too much, though, because there was a lot of love for the TCR there.
Yeah, it's amazing, actually. I mean, I can remember must have been 3 years ago. I think everybody was anti-TCR for some reason. I don't understand why, but we must have done something right because everything's gone in the right direction the last 3 years. The grids, there's the fan base, the social medias, so many different people joined up to support the championship, and it's just accumulation. We're obviously coming to Combe this weekend, which I've stuck with Castle Combe. Castle Combe was one of those places where people seem to not come from other championships, but they gave us they gave us support in our early days when we didn't have many cars, and now we've actually got 32 cars registered for the championship.
Really?
Overall, we've had grids of 27, 28 this year. I mean, I know someone mentioned there's only 20 cars this weekend, but 20 cars is a lot of TCR cars around Combe. I think they're big cars and they race quite close together. So I was actually a little bit worried that we'd have too many cars because the pit lane isn't that big.
Yeah.
And it would cause us a problem. But I think 20 is the magic number for Toom for that kind of race, definitely.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I mean, I think what was being remembered there is, of course, the TCR cars were mixed in with not just TCT, but the VWs as well, weren't they?
Yeah. Unfortunately, the Volkswagen Racing Cup, which we've run for a few years, it was kind of like a victim of TCR success because, the Volkswagen Racing Cup was kind of like the TCR race of a few years ago. It was that race outside British Touring Car. Am I allowed to say British Touring Car on here?
It's more your back than mine, mate. So that's fine.
No, yeah. It was kind of like the place where British Touring Car drivers came from. Back in the day, there's a few drivers like myself, Martin Depper, people like that came from that race. Yeah. But now TCR's established. I mean, just the stats. I like stats. When we took the job over, there was 3 cars in the UK.
Was it really as low as that?
Yeah. Now there's over 60.
Wow. Well, the whole theory of TCR that seems really great is that you're able to pick these cars up and go and race them in a whole load of different things, as well as the TCR Championship itself.
Yeah. Well, we're the distributor for the VAG brand, which is Audi and the Golfs and the Cupras. And when we took the distribution on, we didn't have any customers at all. And on our portal, there's a portal where you buy all the cars and the parts. I think there's over 100 people signed up to it now who are physically, they're signed up because they've got cars or they need parts. And I look at where some of these cars are placed now. And, there's different championships. And if you go on TSL and you look at an open championship, you always see, 2 or 3 TCR cars, or, I think there's one championship that's got like 10 on the grid. We're kind of like supporting these guys. And it's not, TCR UK is the pinnacle for TCR racing in the UK. But outside that, they're a great car for the club racer, and that, they can buy a car, they can come and race with us, and if they don't feel they want to be with us, they can race in other things, which is caught on really.
Yeah, I mean, I was covering the 24-hour series over at Hockenheim a month or 2 ago, and there's TCR class obviously in that as well, and that included that one of the teams had just bought a new TCR car that they wasn't great in that race because they had to convert it from sprint to endurance, but it wasn't going to be a major deal for them to do that and to be able to switch it back again. I mean, it's a very versatile car as well as exciting. But of course, the big thing that has got everybody excited, the Combe faithful, is at the end of the day, it is a touring car. It's a touring car that's going to be taken on the Castle Combe Circuit, and 20 of them racing hard. I mean, it is just amazing to watch the speed and the handling on those things.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people I know have probably already seen some of the races that we've had streamed, and we've got a TV show that's been made by TDI Media. But the actual races this year, I haven't seen a bad race, and it's been really close. It hasn't been, we haven't had hardly any safety cars or anything. It's been good, hard racing. Also, the level of the drivers has increased vastly. My theory on it all is that most people in the UK will never be able to get in a BTC car. It's far out of their reach, and mainly because of the costs. And there is no magic button that you can press to get on that grid. You've just got to have a good sponsor, or you've got to have a lot of money. But the TCR concept is for everybody else. There's our customer base or potential customer base is vast in comparison, and the cars are the same speed. They're more reliable. They're easy to run. They're made by the manufacturers. They're all the parts are from the manufacturers. It's a different ball game. But I get phone calls now virtually every day of the week from somebody. Well, I've bought a car, or how do I get into it, or Where do I get a new one from? You know, the level of interest has increased, but the level of the drivers has increased. I mean,
yeah,
you could predict who was going to win the race 12 months ago, but you can't anymore. I mean, you know, the top 12 to 15 drivers, they're all young kids. Yeah, you know, like a 17-year-old kid won the race last week, well, at last meeting at Alex Lay, and I think he's won 2 races. He's 7th, Alex Lee. Sorry, I've just been corrected. It's Lee, not Lay.
I'll make a note of that as well for the commentary then.
His dad went and bought a Hyundai with some parts. They're running it themselves, and the kids won a race. You know, that's kind of like that. That's good for a lot of people, because there's so many good drivers out there who are never going to get the opportunity to race a touring car, and you know, this is it. This is where they need to be.
And I've got to congratulate you as well. You and I have had conversation quite a few times in race paddocks up and down the country. When you first, you were racing one of the cars, you believed in it. When, let's not kid ourselves, it was on the floor. Everybody was scratching their head trying to work out why, because European TCR in particular was massive. And it was like, well, surely it should work. You believed in it massively then. And I think I've spoken to you even a couple of times as it started to progress. And this is the first time I've spoken to you since it's been in these numbers. I mean, did you implicitly believe everything that you said to me, or have you had your concerns over the years that makes you delighted now that you were correct?
Well, my wife told me every night, we're wasting our time. No one's interested. I mean, I think she did that for about 3 years. And to be fair, I didn't listen to her. But we both worked together. We both believed in the concept. There was the main issue in the early days. There wasn't enough cars in the UK. So I started buying them myself and bringing them in and selling them. But my theory on it all, I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, people can say what they like about the TCR in the early days, and they can say what they like about it now, but every single person that's test drove one of the cars, and it doesn't matter what they drive, whether it's a GT car or this car or that car, as soon as they've driven one, they go, oh, okay, then we understand what it's all about. Then the car is that good. And it doesn't matter whether it's a Hyundai, an Audi, a Cupra, you know, there's so many good cars in the concept. They understand why once you've driven one, there's no going back. It's a proper race car. You know, they are unbelievable cars to drive. And that's when I came out of British Touring Car, where I'd been driving an NGTC car, which is a real, you know, you need a life support machine to keep the thing going. I jumped in this TCR car. We bought one on a whim, really. And then I drove it and I went, oh, my God, this is just like 10 times easier to manage and drive. And it's just more fun. And that's what it was all about, really. For the average driver, it's the best thing to be in for a touring car driver, especially.
Well, I think that, you know, as you could hear from the excitement from everyone for this weekend, is that they look amazing. I mean, they look like they're on rails. The speed of them is just incredible. And, you know, I know we can't wait to see them sort of heading up to Quarry Corner, around Camp Corner. They look super impressive as well. I'm surprised we haven't seen you back out in one, though.
Well, I am actually, I mean, I don't do much driving nowadays because we're that busy, but I am actually leading the Brit Car Endurance Championship because although I've got a co-pilot that comes in and I've got a couple of rounds to go in that, so I have done the odd race. To be fair, I don't do any driving at all. I mean, if I go to a race like that, I'll just turn up on the Friday, do a few laps, and I'm in, you know, so it is tricky. But we've got that much going on with the work side of it and promoting the series. I mean, I get as much enjoyment out of watching them go around as driving them nowadays. But also, my son, if people see the media and that, he's quite high up in the karting world nowadays in Honda Cadet. And that, you know, believe it or not, I mean, those guys, I thought, well, we could take in karting. I didn't realise they're out every weekend, you know. Yeah. But, so when we're not at a TCR event or a Honda Civic event, you know, I think he takes up 3/4 of the actual weekends now through his racing.
I've heard that a lot from a lot of drivers, and sadly, it's no longer. I mean, it's I used to go over and cover the European, the big Rotax Max and all that lot over in Europe, and there's no dad, lad, and van anymore, is there? Everything's got to become big.
I started like that, and I've been in motorsport all my life, and then we realised we couldn't compete at that if you want to take the lad forward. And then he was Synergy factory driver at the beginning of this year. He did well there, and then we got an offer to go to Zip, which is a big name. Finley's driver coach is Luke Hines, who's very well known.
Yeah.
And he's there. He's one of their drivers now, and he's had success already. And you've got to have those kind of people around you. You can't. I mean, to be fair, karting, there's a lot of club level karting, but if you're going to operate at British Championship or anything national championship, you've got to have people around you. Otherwise, you will. I mean, you're only talking small margins, but a tenth or two on a kart track is like night and day. So.
Yeah. I always said when I was going over Europe, it always amazed me. It's like a mini F1 paddock in reality. Talking of paddock, I mean, one of the other things that the spectators are going to love this weekend is that you guys don't just provide the ore on track. The whole setup off it, you put a lot of effort into this. I was even flicking through again either today or yesterday, like the pre-season brochure or whatever you want to call it, and there is a big drive. There is the whole experience for the drivers and the teams to be part of this.
Yeah. Well, they're there now. They got there this morning to put the hospitality up, and the this driver centre for the briefings and that. I mean, we've got quite a lot of cars in the paddock this weekend. We've also got our Civic Cup Championship, Milltek Civic Cup, where there's 25 cars out in that. So we've got quite a lot of vehicles, a lot of people, and I think I don't know about what spectators that we would attract nowadays. I mean, I've always thought about could TCR stand on its own, but I think this is kind of like they are. The club have done a good job in advertising us as a main race there, and I think it's we will attract a few people there on Saturday, to come and have a proper look. And I think if you look at the viewing figures that we have on live stream, it's quite large. I mean, I think at the first meeting this year, each YouTube stream had like something ridiculous, like 60,000-70,000 views.
Wow.
Which is good, really, because it does get advertised around the world. But I think that's only going to increase. People do, if the racing's good, they'll watch it. And we have tried to make the TV and the social media as strong as we can. I mean, Phil, who's one of your friends, we took him on. We took him on full time, which is unusual in motorsport because you can't afford to have too many employees because motorsport's quite tight on money. But we gave him a full-time job, and that's what he does. He promotes our championships and helps Nicky run them. And we did invest in the TV side. The TV side's important because we're not ITV, but we're just trying to be. I wish I was ITV. I wish I did have that budget, but we're not, and we never will be. But we're trying to do a job that people like to watch, because in the past, especially in the early days of live stream, it's a bit volatile live stream, and you can get criticised for it because it's happening then. The live stream we use is 4 or 5 guys doing it. We're not ITV with a truck and 20 people there. Yeah,
it's not a full outside broadcast.
Yeah, but we do another show, which is a show that goes on one of the Sky channels, and it's that's pre-recorded, and that show's gone down really well. So we're trying to if we've got an issue on one side. To be fair, I think this year we've had hardly any issues, but touch wood, we don't have one at Combe.
Sod's law, be typical, wouldn't it? I'm going to flick to some of the messages that people have got coming in for you, and if there's any questions. But really, the final thing to really say to you in general is anything for the future. Is it that you've got the formula right for now and it's like let it breathe, or is there still plans for the future?
Well, in the background, we're selling cars. There's people bought cars for next year. already. I mean, I think next year the grid will consolidate at around about 30 cars per meeting, definitely. Wow. I know who's bought the cars. I mean, we've got 20 this weekend, which I think is a good thing. You know, and I've never said that before. A few cars less is a good thing because of the nature of the circuit. You know, 30 of those cars. I didn't want it to turn into a safety car session. You know, that's not what we want at this moment in time, definitely. But at the next meeting at Donington, I'm pretty sure we're going to be back up to 28 cars because of the people. Some people are on holiday, and Castle Combe's a quirky track. It's one of those tracks that I like it, and I like going there, and I think it's a fantastic place. But I think if you're a driver that's not in the championship, or you're a bit nervous or whatever, it's probably one to miss because it's a high speed. You need to be a specialist around there to get the best out of it. But I know that we'll be back up to 28 cars for the Donington round, which is a month's time, because we seem to do, whenever you mention Donington Park, we seem to get loads of entries. So maybe we should just have 10 Donington Parks and 1 Castle Combe.
As long as there's a Castle Combe in there, mate, we'll be ecstatic. Yeah. And honestly, that's the comment. Let me just quickly catch up. Let me see. Sorry, I just had to go back a little bit. Right, Matt Coyle, question from our Saloon Car Championship coordinator. Everyone's dying to know, what's the name of the dog in the picture?
Yeah, it is. That was our. He's not with us anymore. I mean, he died actually this year. He died at a racetrack, not a car racing track, a karting track. So you can take your dogs there, but that's him. You know, we've got him. Yeah, but I know he looks a little bit like me, and people will say, "Look, but it's definitely not my twin brother." I thought it looks more like Phil Kinch than me.
Well, and in fairness, 2 things from Phil. He said, he confirmed you're Alex Lee. So I've got to remember that. I'd have said Leigh. So it's Lee, is it?
It's Lee, yes. Yeah. I get confused with that one, but we've got to call him Lee.
You would think, though, would you look at that, wouldn't you, that it was Leigh? But if I get proven wrong, then it's on record now that it's your fault that I end up saying Lee. But yeah, youngest ever TCR UK race winner in his debut season, 2 wins already. And Phil also, picking up on what you said earlier, he said, I can happily say I'm very grateful for the chance given to me by Stewart and Nicky to be part of the team. I'm proud to be involved in 2 great championships. Thank you. And that is a very important thing. And I know you did sort of bring it up a little bit there, was that it is 2 championships. Understandably, we're talking about the TCR, but the Civic Cup, the Milltek Civic Cup, I mean, that, as you say, is 25 cars. We've got some interesting local interest there in Owen Hillman and Simon Norris that are going to be out there as well. It's going to be brilliant in itself, isn't it?
Yeah, we bought the Civic Cup. Actually, I don't know why I bought it. I think I was drunk one night, and somebody said, "Do you want to buy the Civic Cup?" And because we've ran championships like that before. We ran the VAG Trophy, which was, we got it up to 37 cars back in the day, and then we took the Volkswagen Racing Cup on, and we got that up to 28 cars when we bought it. We seem to buy championships when they're in trouble. The Civic Cup was struggling a little bit. You'd run out of ideas, and I said, I'll tell you what, let's give it a go. Because my theory on it was that it can be a feeder series to TCR, and it has proved right. We've had 3, 4, 5 drivers come out of Civics, and some have bought cars, some have just had the odd go in TCR, and they've done really well as well, because that Civic Cup race at the front end is ultra competitive, you know, and we've had drivers come out the front of that, and they've gone to the front of TCR, you know, people like Bruce Winfield, Jamie Tonks, Rob Butler. You know, it's a good transition, because the cars, you know, the driving style's the same. They're just bigger and faster and whatever. But now the Civic Cup, to be fair, has been a good thing for us, and I do enjoy being involved with running the Civic Cup. I mean, they're different to the TCR drivers. TCR drivers are very focused, and you know, sponsor driven, and are quite right.
Career-minded, I reckon. I see them as well.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, and but the Civic drivers, it's a weekend. It reminded me of the old days when I was in motocross and that. We all went racing and we had a good time, and we wanted to win, but it was more of the weekend away really for the Civic boys. They love they do like drinking. They'll be in that paddock on Friday night drinking a lot, I would imagine. So.
Yeah. Oh God. As long as they keep the neighbours in mind, that's fine. Yeah. No, exactly. James Keepo, our saloon car champion from last year, tempting. Don't think the other half will be impressed finding a TCR appear in the garage. They're always impressed when they see TCRs, Stuart, aren't they?
Well, our motorsport garage has got CCTV in it, and Nikki goes on there every week to check that there isn't another TCR car in there, because she has. I don't tell her when I buy them, because they come from all places. I mean, we've had them come from Australia. The Subarus came from Australia, and all places the cars come from. Denmark. I mean, you wouldn't believe, because it's a worldwide concept. The cars are the same everywhere. And when one appears, she just says, "Where's that car?" "Oh, yeah. We're going to sell it." So we do sell them. That's what we do. But she doesn't understand that we have to get them to sell them.
Yeah. That's probably, she's not trusting you to actually sell it on rather than race it, and we can't blame her for that one.
Well, I've sold 2 this month to new drivers that are coming in. Well, I didn't actually sell the one. I swapped it for Alan Menu's Vauxhall Astra 2003 championship winning car.
Oh, wow.
Which was kind of like, that was sort of a sale. And the car is like it's a show car, to be fair, but we've put that under a sheet. But we've got another person on the grid. I think the guy is from classic touring cars. And then I took a deposit on one yesterday from some guy that's been doing some club racing, CC, TRC, also. He's been racing in different things for a few years, and they're like, those are it's not. People think that, you're trying to attract people from British touring car to switch to TCR. That's not our marketplace. Definitely, we're not interested in. Some of them will probably come anyway, eventually. But our marketplace is people, normal drivers who want a chance to race a touring car. So the people I get phone calls from, he said, I've been racing in 750, I've been racing in MSVR, and I want to buy a car. And if the second-hand car market's quite strong now, you can get a really good car for about £60,000. But if you bought it and run it and kept it for 3 years, it's still going to be worth the same money in 3 years' time. They hold the money.
Yeah.
But I didn't think we were going to be selling a lot of new cars because they're 130,000 euros, and that's a big fetch for a lot of people. But we're selling new cars now. People are just investing. I mean, Neil Trotter has bought 2. His cars won't be there this weekend. They'll be there by the end of the year. They bought 2 brand new Gen 4 Cupras. I had another guy confirm he wants one yesterday. There's people buying Audis. They've got the confidence now that if they buy a brand new car, it's kind of like they've got somewhere to race it, and it's just a confidence thing, really, with the new stuff. If you can afford it, I'll buy it.
I go back to that point being that confidence is helped by the fact there's multiple places that they can race these TCR cars. And I think you hit on something else there, Stuart, that I reckon was what possibly stalled it in the early days, is that the misconception was that it was competition for British touring cars. And we know that's got a massive and loyal fan base, many of us included, that love watching the TCR now that they understand it's not a competition, it is a different ball game altogether. That has helped it, and I think that was a key thing you were trying to do and have even now, is make people understand that no, this is not a rival to, this is a sit beside, do something completely different.
Yeah, and to be fair, we've got touring car teams in there, Power Max, Chris Smiley, and I can't say who they are, but there's going to be another couple probably come next year, because they want to run a second program. Because if you've got a lad that's wants, ultimately, his dream is to race in BTC. And, you know, it's a massive ask for him to go straight in there in year one. He needs to do a year or two in TCR, really, because you get the kilometres underneath you. You learn how to drive the car and battle against good drivers. You know, and if that's where you want to go, you can, you know, at least when you go there, you've got some experience. But back when I was doing it, and people were jumping from a Clio or a Volkswagen Cup car straight into BTC because that was the jump. And it's kind of like the cars are massive. They're like 6-7 seconds a lap apart. It was a big jump, really, and they're completely different. Whereas you know, the TCR car and the BTC car, you know, some tracks were the same lap time. I mean, there's only tenths between them, and most of that time isn't based on. It's based on the BOP, because the TCR cars, if they didn't have, some of them are heavily BOP, balanced performance, they'd be faster than a BTC car. And also the tyres, we use a different tyre. Our tyre's harder. It's not as soft as a BTC tyre. If we had those soft tyres on, we'd be faster again. But, you know, it's not about that. We're not competing with them. But, you know, we need, I know everybody in that BTC pit lane quite well, and you know, and they're looking over the fence and thinking, well, yeah, maybe I should get one and stick a young driver in it, help him out. You know, it's not going to kill it. Or some teams are thinking, well, maybe I should get 2 or 3 of them, and you know, because they can. It's a business. At the end of the day, they're a business. They've got to make money. Max, they've run 6 at some meetings, and they're doing well out of it. You know.
No, it makes sense, and I get it, and now people understand it. I think it's helped it grow. Goose, one of the Quarry Hardcore, I think a majority of us who are regulars. Oh, hang on! I thought that I haven't plugged my laptop in, so it's about to just die on its battery. Whoops. Yes, majority of us regulars can't thank you enough for bringing TCR back to Combe. And I have to concur with that. You know, it is such a great thing to have there. And, you know, I know a lot of the spectators are really appreciative of that one. And I got the impression that, in fairness as well, Stuart, is that you know that Combe has always had like a good turnout of fans. You know, there are some circuits you can go to and it's like crickets and what have you.
Yeah, we're hoping for a big crowd on Saturday. I know the last time we was there, it was still COVID, was it? Or was it? I can't remember whether COVID had finished. But there was still a lot of people there, but you weren't allowed in the pit lane or anything.
Yeah. Whereas now we've got a grid walk and everything, haven't we? So people watching this, if you didn't know it, there's a grid walk at lunchtime amongst the TCR cars and everything.
Yeah, well, I'm looking for. I'm hoping for a decent crowd. I think the weather's going to be great. And, you know, you can get in the paddock and you can go on the grid walk. You know, I'm hoping for a bumper event, really. I mean, Steve Weston, who we deal with at Castle Combe, I mean, he couldn't do enough for us, really. You know, he wants, you know, it was a bit of a risk in the early days having us there. And, you know, but because we've stuck with it, and I think this meeting could be the accumulation of everybody sticking together and trying to make it the best they can. But, you know, I'm hoping for a big crowd the weekend. We've had some great crowds. When the first 2 meetings with British GT, there were big crowds, and then we had decent crowd at the time attack meeting at Brands. So and Alton. But I think this Saturday it might best that, because I know that when they come out of Castle Combe, I've only ever been there on a Sunday for a race day, though. I'm not sure on a Saturday whether they have to go shopping, the locals. So that might curtail a few of them.
Well, and they're so used to it being bank holiday Mondays that we have meetings going on there. But yeah, no, I think it'll be cracking. I can't wait. Rob Drew, one of our marshals, says, "Where can I find the TCR UK merch?"
Right. Well, that's a good question, because there isn't any yet. But we had some samples made, and Nikki's umming and ahhing whether to put them on general sale, because we don't want to put some on sale that's not 100% right. We'd rather get it right before we put it out there. But we've got a company who's sponsoring us called Luke, who do a lot of clothing for football clubs and that. They're quite a well-known brand, and they've made some samples we've just got to do a bit of fine tuning. But I would imagine they're going to get released onto the general sale soon.
Cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
a couple of weeks actually. Nikki's just said to me, she's in the background. Yeah,
yeah.
Sure I don't swear at you or anything.
So. Yeah. Hi, Nikki. Keep him under control.
Yeah, the merch is important. I mean, I'll see a lot of merch. I mean, you know, British Touring Cars is the big place for merch, isn't it? You know, and everybody wants it. And I think that we've got a marketplace for some merch now, and stickers on trucks, and you know, like advertising the fact of who we are. Whereas, you know, 3 or 4 years ago, we were hiding the fact. I don't think we. If you said, "Oh, you've got a TCR car," and everyone just laugh at you a little bit, but it's changed full circle, hasn't it? You know, I'm quite happy about that. So,
and I think even from as a fellow businessman, is that you had to focus on getting it right internally before worrying about then this side of it. And it's like now I think it's probably is big enough. I think the desire will be there, which is a great compliment, and I hope you guys take it that way as well.
Yeah, there's a few ideas we've got. I mean, next year is going to be quite crucial. I mean, you mentioned earlier, are you going to consolidate or whatever? No, TCR's got to move forward. We've got some ideas, and we've got a calendar we've put together, which I think is going to be quite interesting. And it can't. TCR is a premium package, and it, and that's not just based on it's expensive. It's not expensive compared to a lot of stuff. It's a premium package, and we want it. It's our flagship championship, so we've got to move one more step forward with it, and we've had a great year so far this year, but next year is going to be another turning point. Also, next year is going to be interesting to see how motorsport deals with. I mean, everybody keeps saying there's going to be a recession. I mean, I'm not frightened of a recession because my background is with our IT companies and stuff, and telecoms. We've always done well in a recession because people, when there's a recession, they start looking at costs and what they're doing and what they could do for a better cost, and sponsors need more value for money. And the TCR concept's well placed for that, as you know.
Yeah.
So maybe next year is the time for big sponsors and people who are thinking shit on this. And sorry, swearing. I need value for money here. What am I going to get for my money? And TCR Touring Cars with us is going to be, it's going to be on the list, isn't it? Where it was never on the list, it's going to be on the list of let's have a look at it.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. Are we able to check to see where the Combe's on the list for next year?
Well, yeah, I'm going to speak to Steve. I'm not one for changing things that aren't broken. This race meeting is not broken, but my problem will be next year is that there could be 30 cars want to come, probably a little bit more than that. So if we just need to manage that. That's all.
Okay.
And that's important. I don't want to not be at Castle Combe because we need to be at Castle Combe and we need to be at tracks that are unusual.
I like it. I know that the fans that would have been watching would have been like, ask him, Chris, ask him. So I was going to ask the difficult question.
No, I've got no intention of not doing Castle Combe, but I think what we've got to do, we've got to manage the expectations of the pit lane and stuff. When 30 cars are there, there's so many different engineers and people running around with headphones on, and there's articulated lorries everywhere in the paddock, and I'm pretty sure Steve Weston will step up to that, because he hasn't let us down so far. So as long as this is what we're going to need, I'm sure he'll. Right.
Well, and I get the impression that it's also returned is that you haven't come in like a prima donna, and we have had that with some things in the past, and it's always give and take, isn't it? It's teamwork. We've got to work together on it, and I thank you for doing that as well. Love this comment that Chris Pearson said. I'd love to see the Preble brothers mixing it up with the TCRs or in the TCRs. I don't know whether you're aware of Gary and Adam Preble.
Yeah, we had one of them in our Civic Cup this year, and you know, and he was in the top 10 actually, which he's got. I mean, you think, oh, I know that the guys have won a lot of races at Castle Combe, but to be in the top 10 in that Civic Cup race, I mean, it's hard. I can't profess how hard it is. You know, there's a lot of young kids in it, and some of the teams are quite well versed in turning a Civic Cup car out. But I'm pretty sure that they do really well in TCR, definitely.
That would be amazing to see, definitely. Let me just quickly check, and then I'll let you go. Brad Kent Brad Kent said, who's your favourite driver in TCR? That's loaded, that, isn't it, from Brad?
Well, it's not Jessica Batman, is it? Because as you remember, we had a crash and ended up in the barriers. I went on to retiring and running championships, and she went on to being a Hyundai factory driver. So I mean, that's the way motorsport goes. I remember the accident. I mean, it's not the best. It was a big shunt, really. I think that kind of like that video is still knocking around, isn't it? You probably got it yourself.
I have seen it. I did muse for a little while about whether I was going to show it tonight, and I thought no.
I think you should, just to point out. I did actually. My friend that day, David Pierre, God rest his soul. He was the clerk of the course. He's not around anymore. And he lives literally a mile from me, and he's a friend of mine, and we gave him work in his other business at the time, and he still fined me 500 quid and give me 4 points on my license. So, you know, if he hadn't been my friend, God knows what it had been. So
really, even more, yeah. In fairness, Brad did then just go hee wink wink, so he was just giving you some grief.
To be fair, I'm hoping Brad. I've been waiting for Brad to have a decent weekend. He's had that much bad luck with stuff with the car, and there's all sorts of stuff going on with Brad. I mean, Brad's capable of winning one of them races, definitely. I'm hoping it. I mean, even Mickey said, "When's Brad going to win?" And I said, "Well, should be this weekend." And we keep saying it's going to be this weekend. He's due for a win. And maybe I'll predict it. Brad Kent will win a race this weekend. I'm pretty sure. I mean, he can't have that much bad luck for the whole season.
And that's Lewis Kent's brother, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. Brad's won. I think he's won races before with definitely, but he's just had a lot of bad luck. I mean, you know, he just silly things really. But in answer to his question, who's my favourite TCR driver? It's going to have to be who's that old bloke with the bald head who's WTCR who's really fast? What's his name? In Italian. Oh God, I forgot what his name is now. He's the Hyundai factory driver, and he's their test pilot. Someone will remind you in a minute. But
yeah.
You know, he's. I think he's packed up now, but. He won a lot of race. I like watching him. I was hoping that someone like him would come and race with us when we got it up to full strength, but he's packed up now, so that may not happen.
And I like the way that, in fairness, he didn't say your favourite driver in TCR UK, so you were able to go that route. I like it. My dad's watching as well, which is always cool that my old man watches, and he said, a message to Stewart, where in the Brum area are you from? As I left Birmingham 51 years ago, his accent takes me back. I'm from Shirley, Solihull.
No, we're not from that side. We're from Sutton Coldfield, and I live just outside near Lichfield, really. But we're from Sutton Coldfield, which is where the Aston Villa.
Well, Dad was a Villa fan, ironically, but even then he was,
We don't. So that's the other side. You down south, that is.
No, exactly. It was. He doesn't live there. He lives in the Somerset, retired to the Somerset countryside now. But you've taken him. I knew it would do. As soon as you were speaking, I knew my dad would be there taken back. Nice the fact that we've answered this. Goose says, I suppose the $64,000 question is, does TCR have a future at Combe due to the pit lane? We've covered that one. They're really messing you about. Jake Robinson said, who's the better Kent brother?
Well, it's definitely Lewis, because he's the one that gets all the results. I think Brad's technically, on paper, he's been faster, but he's just had the bad luck. You know, that's racing, isn't it? You know, racing is cruel sometimes. But I think you know, that it can't be like that forever. I'm sure.
Which one's older out of those two?
But
I can't remember now. I've
I
forgotten.
think Lewis is the oldest. Yeah, Lewis is definitely the oldest. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I should know, but I couldn't remember off the top of my head now. Bradley Thurston says 2023 TCR UK for me. Did you know that?
Well, that's another customer, you know. Actually, I'll go back to that. Neil Trosser's my favourite TCR driver.
Okay.
At this moment in time, because he's bought 2 brand new Cupras. So, like,
Business talks, doesn't it? Yeah.
he's definitely my most favourite driver at the minute.
Good answer. Good answer, to be fair. Alan Hamilton, one of our GT drivers. Hi, Dawes. Will the race day live feed cover the whole event, all races, or only the TCRs? Just the TCR ones, I'm afraid, on that one.
It does the Civic as well.
And the Civic, sorry, yeah. But that's your package, to be fair. So that's,
There's still time. If he sends me some money in the post, I can add him to the stream.
Yeah, absolutely.
The money talks.
It does. Failing that, it is the commentaries on TCR, on TSL, sorry. So you will be able to hear that.
Yeah.
Jonathan Wilson says, support your local driver, Matt Wilson, number 31. I need to check that out. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Max. He lives. I don't know whether he lives in the village, but he lives near there. Molson is his dad's company, or was his dad's company.
Okay.
They're quite a big company locally, Matt's. I think he's actually bought nearly 30 tickets on the gate for his friends and family.
Wow. So, well, yeah, I suppose if it's your home one, that makes sense. I'll have to remember that one now then. So, because I'd missed that. I haven't done much prep until Friday, to be honest with you. But yeah, Matt Wilson. Okay.
Yeah, he's local. Yeah.
Fine. And I'll remember that it's Matt rather than Matthew, because always entry lists have it all formal, don't they? So that's good to know. Someone else saying they'd be interested in TCR merch.
It's Matthew.
It is Matthew, is it?
Yeah.
Well, his dad said that, though. It's support your local driver, Matt Wilson.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I'm not sure how much driving Matt's done round Combe, though, because whenever I've come across Matt driving, he's been in, the MSV tracks and that. But he must have done a bit of driving at Combe, because it's on his doorstep.
Well, quite, yeah. I mean, I guess you never know, though. Tim Perry says, loving hearing that, Stuart. I'm a true Combe fan. I would love to see TCR. Tom Davis, you may well remember him. He used to be the marketing dude at Combe. So pleased to see he's back at Combe. Unfortunately, I'm out of the country with work, so I won't be around. Obviously, he's VP Racing Fuels. Clive Woodward, co-commentator with me this weekend, says 2 heats and a final next year. That could be the way around it.
Yeah, well, being in karting, I've seen that many formats because, in Honda Cadet, I mean, they get 45 entries at a lot of meetings. And I always used to think, well, how are they going to manage this? And they do lots of things and the B finals and that. And there is a way around if we did tip over the edge a bit. So
yeah, exactly. There's ways. Interestingly, Jonathan Wilson's now also put Matthew. So if you're saying it's definitely Matthew, I'll refer to him as Matthew because it's changed.
Marshville, that's not very far from Combe.
Okay, yeah, no, exactly right. Jamie Peterson says, what Stewart and Nicky have done with TCR is fantastic. It's definitely the future. Everyone's confirming, and I did wonder if it is this, but I bottled out suggesting it's Gabriele Tarquini is the driver you were thinking of. Yeah.
I mean, he's obviously a well-known driver, but he's done a lot for TCR, and he always doesn't. He seems to get in these things, and he always seems to operate at the front. But I mean, everyone says he's really old. But when he said he was retiring, and he said he was 50, I mean, he's 9 years younger than me, but I'm sure he looks older than me. He's probably no hair or something. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you'd wind him up with your full head of hair. That's what it would be.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Ben Stewart says, looking forward to getting a closer look at these cars in the paddock, and the grid walk is a great idea. Absolutely. I know lots of people are looking for that. Make sure you get yourself in line ready for that, because it is during the lunch, 11:45 to 12:45, subject to hoping there's no delays in the morning. And then you guys need that little bit of extra time for everybody to clear off before we lead into the race. So people need to get there nice and early for that one. Final question, and I'll let you go, mate. Is Thruxton ever on the cards for TCR UK?
Yeah, it's tricky. We've been to Thruxton with Volkswagen Cup before. It's difficult for us to negotiate with maybe Thruxton, or I like the other track up north. What's it called? The BTC track at Darlington.
Croft.
Croft, yeah, I like that track as well. And we've been at both tracks, and because it's a Bark kind of like establishment, it's unlikely at the moment, because Bark won't let us go on their main packages, because their stalwart is British touring car,
Of course. Yeah,
and us being alongside that wouldn't work for them. It has been muted that we should be alongside them at a meeting, but it's never come to fruition because they're too similar. But they own those tracks, you see, and we've got to take a different. I mean, I'd love to go to Croft and Thruxton, but I do like. I like Croft a lot. I don't think many people actually like Thruxton unless you're a bit mental in the head, because it's a bit dangerous.
It's a bit quick, isn't it?
Castle Combe's a mini Thruxton, isn't it? That's kind of like, that's our Thruxton. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I get that completely. Yeah. One last one then, actually. Is there going to be a grid walk at Donington? That's the next TCR event I'm at. I don't know whether you have any control over that or not.
I don't think there's going to be enough time. It's a bit tight on the time attack events nowadays with the drifting and that, and there's so many people there. It's difficult to free the time up for a grid walk. The grid walk's going to be at the odd meeting next year. We like the grid walk idea, and we used to do it a lot. But it was we had more time then. I mean, the meeting we're at that tight, it's especially
which is double-edged sword, isn't it? Because we want to see race action, so we want a packed timetable.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Stewart, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming to Goon. We can't wait to see you and the whole team on Saturday.
Yeah, well, we'll be good. We'll be there Friday. I mean, they're all, as I said, they're all there setting up, and we'll get there Friday. And I know I'll keep saying it, and people have picked up on it. TCR is the future.
Yeah, I agree, my friend. And on that,
but it's stuck.
Yeah, no, I think it's a valid comment, and on that note, I think that's the perfect way to end it. So thank you so much for joining us, mate, and we'll see you at the circuit on Saturday.
Thank you.
Cheers, Mr. Lines. So thank you to Stewart for coming along and joining us. And I got to say, thank you for having your patience. I'm going to bring him straight on because he's been sat patiently in the background. We're supposed to have Isaac Smith as well, but he hasn't appeared. So I'm hoping that everything's okay. Let me swap that around. But we got Max Hart. Hello, mate. You all right?
Not too bad. Thank you very much for having me on.
Sorry that we've kept you waiting for so long there, mate, but we knew it was Mr.
Okay.
Lines. You get one route or the other, don't you? With
Yeah, no, it was brilliant. Stewart spoke very well there.
No, and it's great to see you join us. And one of the reasons was you and I were chatting, when was it? 2 weeks ago, I think it was, or a week and a half ago at Snetterton. And I knew that you were going to be back at Castle Combe with TCR. And your comment was that you absolutely love Castle Combe. Speak to me. Tell me why.
Well, I think it's the first track in the UK where I got my first win. So it's a special track to me. And I just think it's a track that suits me. Like, it's a very high-speed track. So much can go wrong so fast. And I think that's just what makes it a brilliant track, to be honest.
No, and I think that was the cleaned up version of what you said to me when we were chatting in person. And exactly that. It's it is a very brave circuit. That keeps it clean enough, doesn't it? It's a very brave circuit. And you, I remember you in Monoposto Championship, ironically, which I commentated on at Silverstone this last weekend as well. And you are one of those mental drivers that just has no idea about how to get nervous, do you really?
Oh, I definitely get a little bit nervous, but I think once the helmet goes on, then it sort of all disappears and it's fully focused on the task ahead.
Exactly right. And what a big task it is. I mean, we look at the championship standings at the moment. After a very unfortunate Oulton Park, if you look at the standings at the moment, it's down to second place in the championship. Still early, still a good place to be. But as I've worked out, is that if you take in the drop scores, you have to drop your 2 lowest scores. If you did that right now, you are actually in the lead. But such is the excitement of this championship, that would put Isaac Smith on 219, you on 222, and Smiley on 218. That's close.
That's very close, and I think that just sums up how competitive the TCR UK Championship is this year. You know, it's taken a huge step up in the last couple of years, and it's really good to see.
It really is. I mean, you had. I love the fact that you say you love Combe as well, because let's be honest, last year was quite a frustrating race for you at Castle Combe, really, wasn't it? I know you got I can't remember what it was, but you got penalised with something, but that got overturned, didn't it?
So initially, I think I got pole, or I was second in qualifying. And then race 1, I ended up winning the race, but then we got disqualified for the wrong wheel spacers. So I got put back to the grid in race 2. And then I got all the way up to P3 somehow with so many mistakes. And I just didn't have enough laps, because I reckon I potentially could have had P1, but then I got disqualified for a very bad move that I made. But thankfully I got that back. So it was sort of a real up and down weekend. But I just love the track so much. It's so bumpy. It's fantastic.
I've got to stop you there, because the officials at circuit will hear this. Now, we call it undulations, not bumps. All right.
Okay. And I think that really makes the circuit really special, to be honest. Like, you've got to put your car in the right spots, basically, because if you don't, you're going to end up in the barrier, basically.
I mean, speak to me about these TCR cars then, because they look incredible. They look like they're on rails, which to me suggests they're very stiff, and therefore those undulations. All right, practice that. Okay, undulations is that you must feel them a lot in the car.
I've driven a couple of the TCR cars, and the Hyundai's definitely the hardest one to drive that I've driven anyway. And the steering's quite different in the Hyundai compared to all the VAG stuff, like your Cupra, your Audi and stuff like that. So in the Hyundai, it's like really, really sensitive. So small movements do so much. So you can imagine when you're going over these, the undulating circuit or whatever it is, you're getting loads of inputs in the steering wheel that do quite a lot to the car. But I think the TCR car in general is very, very easy to drive. Like, anyone could hop into it and drive it. It's just very difficult to sort of get that last 10-15% out of the car consistently for like 25 minutes straight.
And the reality is that these cars, by design, it's not a one make series, obviously, but they're designed to have the same kind of level playing field as a one make series, aren't they?
Yeah, I think that's where the balance of performance comes in and sort of evens it out. Yeah, they're all sort of different in their own way. They all have their pros and their cons, but that's the BOP comes in and it makes it all level. And I think this year it's quite level. There's been a lot of cars at the front of the grid that some people might have doubted, like the Subaru. Let's say the Subaru's been at the front of the grid, and the BOP has got that up there basically. And then the Hyundais have been there, the Cupras have been there, the Audis have been there, the Golfs have been there. So it's all very, very close up there.
They are just, I love the fact seeing all those names and I'm suddenly picturing them because they're just sexy cars. They are really amazing. Okay, I know that someone was just asking a question. Let's have a look. Craig Cook was saying, for example, I'm trying to think which corner I'd be more excited to watch from, but for the speed side, it's got to be exiting camp, the last corner. From your perspective on the driver's side, which is the scariest part of the circuit? Which is the most exciting / enjoyable? Maybe they're one of the same.
I think the scariest one has to be the first corner, Avon Rise. Is that right?
So the very first corner is the flat out kink at the end of the straight, but I'm guessing you mean up Avon Rise into Quarry Corner. Top of the hill.
That one, that one's really scary coming up to, because you got to get your braking right, but then it can snatch very quickly with the track surface. So that's sort of a scary one. But yeah, you need to be late on the brakes, and you also need to carry so much speed coming out of that corner. But I think the fastest one, and one of my favorites, is probably the last corner. I've had some cool moments there, some scary moments, but it's a really, really cool corner. And I think you have to get that right as well. You have to get that perfect every single time. Or if you turn in, let's say, a little bit too late, what I always find, I can't get to the apex, and then with a couple of bumps, then you're sideways on the exit. So that's a really fast corner and very rewarding when you get it right.
And of course, that carries on all the way along the start-finish straight, folly the first right kink up Avon Rise into Quarry. Until you get on the brakes at Quarry, that exit of camp is important, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
Well, at the moment, then you as we say, you're officially second in the championship. But if we took drop scores into account, it's leading. We've still got plenty of time left to go. What do we got after Combe? You've got the National Donington Park Circuit and the Snetterton 200. Interestingly, that would be cool. How do you feel, like, taking into account Castle Combe? I know you said you're really looking forward to this weekend. What about the other two circuits? How do you think that features for your season coming to a climax?
I think the way we have the car at the moment and the setup the guys have in Jam Sport on the car is fantastic. I think these next three tracks, the setup's really going to suit all them. Donington, it's a track that I really love. I've had some great results there already this year, and I think I can do it again, I think. And that's what I'll be hoping to do. Snetterton, I done a brick car race at the start of the year with a good friend of mine and sponsor, Mark. And so I sort of know that track now. So I'm looking forward to getting back there and showing my hand.
And of course, we talk about these drop scores. I was reading the regs, and that you can't include Snetterton in your drop scores, can you? So even if you end up with 1 point or 0 points, you're not allowed to drop the last round.
Yeah, that's exactly that. I think for me, I can't really afford any bad results anymore, because I've had two DNFs now, which is 2 zeros, and I think 2 is the maximum you can drop. So it's really important for me to basically maximize and get the most amount of points every single race.
How does that mean you go into this weekend at Castle Combe with that in mind? Is that you got to get it right. It's vital now, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think coming into Combe, it's a track that I really do fancy my chances at. So I'm looking forward to it. My nearest competitor, I'm not sure how many times he's been around this track, but I was in it TCR last year, so I know what it was like. So I have that little bit of experience over him. So I'm hoping that that'll pay out in the long run, and that'll work for me at Combe, and that'll help me keep a clear head and just focus on getting to the front.
Well, I know that he has Isaac Smith, you're obviously referring to there, that is officially leading the championship at the moment. He, you're right, hasn't raced the TCR there. I mean, fair shout. He's having a pretty good debut year, isn't he? Consistency is key for him. He hasn't won a race yet, but he's got 4 third place and a second, and then kept the scoreboard ticking over. But he told me, and unfortunately, he was due to be here, and I'm sorry that he's not, and hopefully we'll catch up with him on Saturday anyway at the circuit, is that he told me it was the first circuit that he'd got a fastest lap at in something else that he's racing. I haven't spoken to him to find out what that was, because I thought I'd ask him here. So he's got some experience with the circuit, but not in a TCR. And I get the impression, Max, that is important, because these cars are their own animal.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think, well, for me, my experience is from single seaters, then into the TCR car, and it's totally different. And I think that will I think that's what it'll be like. Like the TCR car is a very, very fast car. It's a car with a lot of grip. It's a car that you have to drive on the edge to get the maximum out of it. And I think, I don't think much cars are like the TCR cars, to be honest. I think that, well, obviously the British touring cars, they're sort of like it, but very different. And I think experience is going to pay off for me this weekend.
I like it. I like it. That's that. I loved it when I spoke to you a couple of weeks ago, a week and a half ago, when you were looking forward to it, and I think I could understand where you were coming from. Free practice. I want to understand that very quickly before I let you go. How much effort do you put into it? Because the very first session of the day, to get the day underway, 8:30, is a free practice session for 15 minutes. How hard do you push it in that?
For me, not hard at all. It's sort of, I will use the free practice just to dial myself in on the day, like bring myself up to speed, and then I'll use the rest of the session to scrub tires, so therefore I can get longer out of them during the race.
Fine. And then into qualifying, you then go for it. Qualifying is actually 30 minutes.
Yeah,
This is a long session, isn't it?
yeah, I'd imagine that I won't use all the 30 minutes. I think the smartest thing to do will be to go out, give yourself that. Yeah, really, for qualifying, for me anyway, it's really important that I get myself into this sort of one lap mindset where I convince myself that I'm going to do this one amazing lap, and everything just has to work perfect for it. And it's sort of like it's nearly like an outer body experience. Like when you think back to your qualifying runs, you're like that was pretty cool.
Wow.
So for me, that's what I'll have one go at that. So I really have 2 laps. So I'll come in, I'll go out and do 1 lap as best as I can. I'll come in and I'll put some new front tires on, and then I'll have 1 more shot, and then I'll come back in, and then that'll be me done.
What? Probably an obvious question, but why just front tires?
So, well, more than likely, I will have enough. The setup in the car, basically, you just want the rear of the car to follow the front. So if I turn, I just want the rear to sort of turn around with it. And if I've got really good tires on the back, you don't get as much rotation. So when you turn into a corner, you sort of want the car to slide a little bit, but not slide where you have to catch it or anything like that, just for it to come around. So a new set of fronts on some worn rear tires is exactly what you want.
Because that's the interesting thing, isn't it? That qualifying, it is a full 30 minutes worth, but that qualifying only sets the grid for race number 1. There's no second fastest for race 2 or anything. That is for race number 1. Race 2 is based on your finishing positions in race 1 with the top 10 reverse, just to add extra spice to it. So it really is intriguing that you have that sort of full 30 minutes, just as you say, that one dam buster of a lap to get in. Do you find that, would you prefer almost for it to be a sort of like you only get 10 minutes, it's like a short fire 10 minutes, or does it mean you've got a buffer?
For me, I wish we never had any practice, or we never had any Friday tests or something. That for me, I always seem to, if I'm able to get right onto the pace very quickly, and that's something that's always been good to me in my career so far. So I wish it was very short and there was no testing or no practice, because I think
that's interesting.
Realistically, we only need 1 lap. We need an out lap, a fast lap, and an in lap. That's really all you need. You need 1 lap to fire your tires up, 1 lap to go fast, and 1 lap to bring it in.
I guess it just gives you that time if you just make a little mistake, or more to the point, you know, it's not the biggest of circuits. So if you suddenly encounter someone on a out or in lap, you've got another chance to go for it. So that's cool. I'm going to bring this one up. Oh, just quickly, by the way, nice to see this. This isn't necessarily for you to be aware of, but Mike, good evening. All roll on Saturday. Finally all ready for Saturday after the crash last round. Back in the saloons, are you, Mr. Good? Looking forward to it. But someone has asked you a question that said, what's Max's ultimate goal in his motorsport career?
I think I speak for probably a lot of drivers, not just in the TCR paddock. And I think a factory drive is the goal, no matter really who it's with or what it's in. I think it's sort of a dream for all us young drivers that we want to get a factory drive. We want to earn a living from motorsports. Like that's the ultimate goal, really. Of course, you would love to be with, I don't know, like Ferrari and stuff like that. Someone like really high cool brands, but I would honestly take anything. Like I love this sport so much. Like when I'm not racing, I go watch racing, and it's always on my phone. I'm always watching some onboards and stuff like that. So anything for me, and I'll always hop into anything too, and I'll always try my hand at something. So I think a factory drive is really the end goal for me.
And I've seen that, of course, that includes you coaching others as well. It's already happening. And I was chatting on the commentary at Silverstone this weekend just gone. Is that it used to be many years ago? Is that you'd ask people, "What's your goal?" and it would be, "Oh, I want to be a Formula One driver." Whereas now it's very much, "I want to be a professional racing driver." And I think you summed up even nicer. "I want to be a factory driver" is the most obvious way of saying it. And that's the point. Make a living out of the sport that you love.
Yeah, exactly. I think definitely when I was in Monoposto, I had that dream of Formula One, but you'll know, and most people know that'll be listening, motorsports is so expensive, and to make it all the way to F1 it's not impossible, but it's very difficult. And you've got to start at a very young age in karting. You've got to have a lot of support, financial support as well behind you, and you've got to get up through them ranks as quick as you can. I think Max Verstappen, when he was like 16 or 17, was in Formula One, which is unbelievable. So me at 21 now, I'm definitely past it. And some people, I'm sure, I'll be thinking 21, like what is he thinking? But if you look at all the people coming into Formula One now, most of them are under 21. In F2, they're all 21, 20, 19, 18, and then F3 is even younger. So I'm sort of past that, where now I'm at the stage where I just want to make a living from motorsports. And my mindset's sort of been like that since I was 19. I went out to Asia to race F4, and I really realized then how difficult it was, and how fast people actually were. It was quite an international grid with a lot of fast people. So yeah.
Oh, that's interesting to hear. I guess picking up on a key thing, we were chatting with Stewart earlier, saying that the great thing with the TCR cars, as well as the TCR championships, is that the TCR is able to race in GT championships. And the reason why I see that as a good thing is that is a lot of factory or professional drivers in that environment, because you've got business people owning cars, wanting a professional driver alongside them to coach them and to co-drive with them to win championships. And that's what I think is great about TCR as well, is it opens up that door in a parallel.
Yeah, there's so much opportunity, and as Stuart says, I could take my Hyundai and I could go to Germany, I could go to Denmark, I could go to Europe, Italy, wherever there's championships all over the world. I can do endurance in it, where, like you say, you can meet a lot of gentleman drivers, as we call them, who are out there. They're doing it for fun, and they want some young hot shot in the car that's hopefully going to bring them on, and that's definitely somewhere where I'd like to dip my toe into.
Well, I think that's a fabulous thing, and I love the fact that Craig Cook's made a comment. Max sounds like he's very much ready to win at Combe. Wish you all the best. I think there's going to be plenty of people cheering for you there as well. You got family and friends at the circuit, or is it a bit too far away?
Yeah, I've got my girlfriend here this weekend, and my mom and dad and some cousins over from Spain. This is going to be their first time watching me race, so it's going to be really cool to have them here.
Wow.
So it would be really cool if I could give them some good results.
Well, listen, best of luck with it, my friend. Thank you so much, because I know you're in the hotel already, just down from the venue. So thank you so much for taking the time out. You've got to get going, because you needed to catch up with those family for dinner. I think it was at 8:30. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us, Max.
And I'd love to just say that if anybody is around the paddock at the weekend and they want to come in and have a look at my car, just come over. I'll show you the car. You can have a sit in it. If you have kids, bring them over. We'll put them in the car, and I'm sure they'll enjoy it.
You're a legend, mate. Thank you so much. And people are already saying all the best and everything. Have a great evening in the meantime. Good testing and everything. And we'll see you on Saturday.
Thank you. See you then.
Cheers, Max. All the best, mate. So thank you to Max for joining us there. And someone else who I've got to say thank you so much for being patient in the back. And it's a champ that I'm going to bring in this time. Let me switch it around so you're the bigger. It's Lewis Ken. Hello, mate. You all right?
Not too bad, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for your patience there. It's lovely to chat to you guys. And I think you probably got in my email to you. I went, it might be then, but it might be then.
Yeah, no, that's no worries. Yeah, well, I kind of understand that you've got to try to fit the show around a lot of people tonight. So no, you're doing a good job so far. Well done.
No, thank you. And it was great to be able to get it. That never really sure. So obviously, I'm being flat out myself and suddenly trying to get. It's a shame we didn't get Isaac on, but we'll catch up with him over the weekend, obviously. But with yourself, Lewis, obviously, you're the reigning champion. You're a double champion, aren't you? What was the other year? I was trying to remember. Apologies, I should know, but I've been busy.
So they were back to back. It was 2020 and 2021.
Right, got you. Yeah, that makes sense. Let me have a quick look at it because I do have it here from last year. Yeah, so you even on the drop points, you won by 11 points over Bruce Winfield. Not getting it all your own way so far this year, though.
No, we've had a bit of a struggle with the start of the year. Obviously, we've swapped cars, so we've gone from the i30 that we're very used to, very familiar with, and sort of gone with a shot in the dark with the new Veloster. Brilliant car, proving itself over in the States actually, but it's been mostly endurance racing that it's done. It hasn't really done any sprint races.
Really?
I think there's only 3 in Europe at the moment, so there's mine and then 2 in Germany that do sprint races. One of them actually, Stewart will like this, is driven by Jessica Bachmann. So one of them is actually Jess's car, who she drives it in TCR Germany. So yeah, that's had 2 or 3 wins now. I think she's sort of found her feet with it a bit quicker than I have, and got a nice setup for it. But yeah, we had a bit of a struggle at the start of the year with how the car felt and how to get it running. But we've had a lot of support from Hyundai over the last couple of weeks to try and get me that little bit further up the grid. So yeah, fingers crossed this weekend. I really enjoy Combe. I've had my first ever podium in a car at Combe back in the Fiesta Junior days about 7 years ago. So yeah, Combe's one of those tracks for me that has a little bit of a special place in my heart. So yeah, looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it.
Well, even last year you got a pair of seconds, didn't you? And one of those was probably, I would imagine, emotionally quite nice, that the person that beat you was your brother.
Yeah, so yeah.
I'm assuming it's that way round rather than it made it worse. I was just thinking you might quite be okay with it.
No, it was actually quite nice. Obviously, it was Brad's first actual win in TCR. I think at the time he was the fastest person to join TCR UK to then win a race, except for Lot, who obviously won the first ever race. But yeah, Brad came in, I think it was meeting 2. So yeah, the second meeting in. So he literally won race 4 of the year last year, and then went on to win three races in total. We had the same amount of wins. We actually went into the last round about 11 points away from each other, me in first and Brad in second. So yeah, Combe last year was good for us. We know we're quite quick around there. It suits the Hyundai well. The Hyundai was built and developed in Europe, which predominantly the tracks in Europe are fast, flowing, sweeping tracks, which Combe is. Combe's not a lot of slow down time, not a lot of tight corners. It's extremely fast, and yeah, it does suit our cars well. So fingers crossed we can get them all hooked up right and sent down the road fast.
Is there still a question mark though? Because where you were just talking about that you've gone a different direction with the Veloster. Yeah, that's
yeah.
Right. Yeah. I almost feel like I should be saying Velociraptor or something like that, but Veloster. Is there a question mark? I mean, an unknown there for you at Combe, though?
So yeah, I still since I've had stuff come over from Hyundai, I haven't actually been in the car yet. So
wow.
We've sent little Scott Sumpton, our little 17-year-old teammate. He went down to Snetterton last week, just to test the car on the 300 circuit, just to see what the new setup was like. Yeah. The last time I was on the 300 was in the i30, and the times that I was doing were good times. I was 2 seconds off of what a touring car would do. So, I looked at that and thought, okay, with a lot less money spent, a lot less backing, let's say, we were pushing good times around there, and Scott went around there 4 tenths quicker than I did last time. So I think the new setup should work very well. Again, it just depends on what the driver preference is. I like my cars very, very loose. I like to be able to turn in, it goes sideways, and me just plant my foot and drive through. So at the moment, that's what we've been struggling with a lot with understeer, not so much front end grip on the car. It's supposed to be a good car for front end grip, but again, as I say, we're struggling with it. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens at Combe, and you never know. We might come away with 2 wins. We might come away with 2 19th, 20th. So, but again, it's motorsport. We'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, and let me just put that into perspective for everybody watching. I said that it hasn't gone your own way. That's at Lewis Kent levels, by the way, that I say that, because he's still 4th in the championship standings before drop scores come out. Your dog's just complained that I said that as well. And he's still got, let me have a look. What was it? 1 victory and 2 third places, plus others that are looking good. So it's at Lewis Kent levels. It's not going to plan. What made you change to the Veloster? What was the thinking?
So Hyundai put the deal towards us. They said that they had a car sitting there. It was a brand new car built last year. It hadn't been used, so the first person that drove it was myself. They sort of gave us a deal that we couldn't really turn down. It was one of those ones that was like, yep, we'll grab that, let's go. So we knew it'd bring us quite a lot of publicity, being the only one in the UK. At the time, it was the only one in Europe, and then Jess decided to bring her one out and spoil the fun. But yeah, we just thought it'd be nice to have a bit of a difference. It's a bit more aerodynamically better designed as well. The back of it slopes down a bit more.
Yeah.
So realistically, around tracks somewhere like Spa, it's about 5 or 6 mile an hour quicker in a straight line, purely because of the aerodynamics.
Wow.
But again, it's got 10 kilos more BOP ballast.
Right.
So obviously TCR wanting to be everything equal and fair, they decided to put a bit more weight in for me. So I'm always the heaviest car on the grid when max ballast is shoved in. So I'm driving pretty much a 3-bedroom house half the time in the half the time this year. But yeah, we just wanted to change up. We've run the i30 for 4 years now, and Hyundai put it forward to us, and we just took it with both hands and gave it a go.
Well, Phil Kinch says the Veloster's first race win was a special one. Lewis won the 50th ever TCR UK race at Brands Hatch. So that was quite poignant to be able to do it. And I'm kind of almost therefore wondering, and maybe I'm being over romantic about all of this, is that, you'd got the back-to-back championships. Is it fun this year that you're kind of going, right, this is a project as well. This is an exciting project. We're getting there. It's totally different. Or now that you're into the year, you've gone, I just want to be leading the championship.
Yeah, I think if you ask any driver, they want to be leading the championship. At the end of the day, we want to be the best. It hasn't gone our way at the moment. It is fun out there. The competition on the grid stepped up quite a bit. We've had to try and step up our own game. So yeah, it's great fun out there at the moment. Bit rough and ready around the edges sometimes. A bit some places that we could improve on, but that again, that's motorsport. It's always room for improvement. But yeah, we'll see how this weekend goes. Hopefully we can. I kind of want to walk away this weekend top 3 of the championship. So I want to try and push one of the others down and make my way back up. Again, as I say, I enjoy Combe. Combe's one of my top tracks for my results in the past. Brad had a win there last year. I had 2 seconds. I was pretty much on for a win in both races anyway last year. So yeah, we're strong around Combe. I do enjoy the track, and fast flowing tracks like that do suit my driving style. I'm not one who's very keen with Alton Park. It's too slow. It stops too much. I don't like that. I like tracks that you have to have a bit of grit between your teeth and grin and hope that it goes right when you're flat out through corners. And that's sort of my style of track. Somewhere like Portimao, I love Portimao because it's half the time flat out. So it's a great track to drive. And hopefully it all goes our way.
With that in mind, I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked Max earlier. What's your the scariest part of Combe and your favourite part of Combe?
I think the scariest part To be honest, I don't find the track scary.
Okay,
I find it more enjoyable than scary. A lot of people go, "Oh, the last corner is so scary, it's so daunting." I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's that playing with fire which makes it fun. And a lot of people going, "Oh my god, it's so fast!" But that, as I say, you're literally playing with a tiny margin of going into a wall at 100 mile an hour or getting around.
Kite found out last year, didn't he? Sadly.
Exactly. So yeah, it's one of those ones I don't really get scared that very often around. I enjoy track. My favourite part, probably, I would say the last corner. I really enjoy the last corner. It's one of those ones that if you don't have the bottle to go through there fast, you ruin your run all the way down that straight. So yeah, it does determine the men from the boys. It's like if you've got the kahunas to go through there, then you're going to go through there. So yeah, it's part of the track that I'd say is my favourite, is the last corner. But again, if you do get it wrong, it does bite. It
does massively. So you've already said about your objectives for the year, for the weekend. Sorry, we're hoping that we're going to have a big crowd there as well. One of the other things is that there's talk that it could be pretty darned warm in there as well.
Yeah, I think this year has probably been one of the hottest years, except from Alton Park last year. Alton Park last year was pretty unbearable, but yeah, this year it's been a hot one. It's inside the car, you're getting up to 50 degrees Celsius, and you have to sit there for 25 minutes trying to hold on and bear it. But yeah, this is why a lot of us do training. I say a lot of us. I don't do a lot of training. I drink a lot of beer and watch and eat food. So that's not me. I don't do. Yeah, I'm sitting here with a drink right now. So, yeah, I don't do a lot of training. The most amount of training is, it's very sad, but I walk around and I play Pokemon Go. That's about it. That's about as far as it goes for me. So that's my training done. You watch the videos of him 6 days a week, getting all big and strong. But yeah, no, I just get in the car and I try and drive as fast as I can. Really.
I don't really know what to do with that Pokemon Go admission there, mate. But the problem and the reason why I ask, some people might go, "What a weird question about the heat," is that I've said it time and time again when I've been commentating. The most trouble, people assume that the most trouble arises when it's wet, and in actual fact, from my experience, there's been more incidents when it is scorching hot, because it does affect your brain.
Yeah, it's the mind play that it has on you. You're getting very hot inside the car. It's exhausting whilst you're out there in that heat. So it knocks your concentration a little bit if you're not up to the mark, sort of thing. This is why you see a lot of sort of entry-level championships when it does get hot. You see a lot of the people who aren't used to having to have that concentration the whole time. They do have some very major incidents purely because they do lose concentration. They are racing very, very close. A lot of one-mate championships especially, they are racing close. And you're always going to find each other if you're not looking out for each other the whole time. The other thing is, in the wet, you're not going as fast. You're
paying even more attention, aren't you?
Yeah. So the wet, you are focused the whole time. You could have anything going on in front of you or behind you, and the only thing that you're looking at is where your car is going to go. So yeah, the wet sort of slows everything down. Also, when you have contact in the wet, you sort of bump off and slide away from each other. Where the dry, you've got a lot more grip and you sort of hit each other with a bit more force. But yeah, that's the other big thing is the speed difference. The wet, when it does rain, you slow down a reasonable amount. So when you do come to contact, it's not as fast in its dry, and when it is hot, it's high speed sort of crashes that happen.
Good point. Stephen Cumming has called you a goat. For those who don't know, that is a good thing, by the way. Yes. And he also said training is for nerds. So he's backing you up. So he knows how it is. What's your plan then? Are you testing tomorrow or Friday?
So I'm not there tomorrow. I am there Friday. So I'll be there with the car on Friday, making sure that it's all shaken down. I don't think I'm going to do a lot of testing. I won't be in the car a lot. I'm actually out in the passenger seat of a Ford Fiesta as well. So I've got a days of work whilst also testing my race car, so I've fitted that in together. So yeah, it'll literally be a shakedown, make sure the new setup feels nice for us. We might do a couple of times, see what the timing's sort of like. I know it's a track day, so no, we won't be timing. But we'll see. We'll see what it's looking like from last year, and then push on until Saturday. We'll see what happens in FP1. You know, we'll just shake the car down again, make sure that it's all ready for qualifying. Go full attack in qualifying. I think we'll try and use the best of our ability, having the free cars, and try and get a good slipstream down the straights. Work together, and then see how we get on in the qualifying, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, because I missed it because I hadn't looked in great detail yet until I do my proper prep for the weekend. Is that there's the three of you, because obviously you and Brad and Scott. So he's 17 years old, you say?
Yes, he's 17. He's done 2 years of car racing and thought it'd be a good idea to jump in a TCR.
Good grief.
Which, to be honest, I have to give him credit. He's done extremely well this year. It is a huge jump, especially he was racing Saxo, so he was going from cars that sort of 70, 80 brake horsepower, little 1.4 toodlers to a big, powerful, turbocharged touring car. So he's done extremely well. He's kept his nose clean. He's kept out of trouble all year. You know, my first year, I know that I was a bit overambitious and went in all guns blazing and crashed into a couple of people. So I'd say he's done a very good job at his first season. And he's been a real team player. He did have a little bit of a coming together with Bradley at Donington, which we won't mention, which didn't end well. But
golden rule: don't hit your teammate.
Yeah, Scott was on a slow lap, Brad was on a fast lap, and they came together at 120 mile an hour. So that ended really well. It was a bit of, you went back to the order and just sat there and waited for it all to unfold. But Scott couldn't be more apologetic. Bless him, to Brad. We always tease him about it, and I show everyone I find in the paddock. I always show them the video. Do you want to see the onboard of Scott's video when he crashed into Brad? just tease him the whole time. So bless him. He's done a really good job this year. And hopefully this weekend we can have a couple of top tens with him. You know, he's definitely got the pace. And after the test at Snep, we've got the car that he's in dialed in properly now. So we'll have to see how he gets on.
I like the sound of it. I think myself and everybody else included have got rather excited about this. Unsurprisingly, Stephen Cummings says, please show me the onboard on Saturday. Laughing. So he wants to see it. But it's going to be a cracking weekend. Hopefully we'll get a big crowd out there as well. If I get the chance, I'll come and say hi as well before I disappear up to the commentary box for the day. But listen, best of luck for it. Enjoy it, and be interested to see if you can get yourself up into that top three, which is incredibly tight in general, isn't it? I mean, just for those of you who might not necessarily know, is that Isaac, if you just take full points at the moment, is on 264, Max on 222, Chris Smiley on 221, and Lewis on 216. I haven't done yours dropping your bottom scores actually, but we were just suddenly it went at 222, 219, 218, just the top three. It's so close. You said about the quality has sort of grown, but I think the breadth, the depth of that quality, there's more of you. And Stewart said it earlier, there's like 10, 15 people that could win races now.
Yeah, exactly. You kind of just have to look back at Brands Hatch in qualifying. The top 20 in qualifying at Brands Hatch was split between 9/10 of a second. So it was a very, very close race weekend there. It's a close championship now, you know. It's one of the biggest in the UK. We've got nearly the most cars in the UK as well, sort of what it is. So what the organisers have done is been great, you know, to build it up to where it is now. It's a brilliant championship. Anyone who's looking to start in their touring car career and boost their way up, definitely look at TCR as an option. You know, it's a lot more cost effective than some of the other championships that you look at. And it's brilliant close racing the whole way through. No,
I agree. Right, before your dog gets upset with you, a couple of final things then just to put up. John Mead says, Essex and Kent Motorsport, the most successful team in TCR UK. That's a proud nod and smile from Lewis Kent there. Lewis Benny says, hi, Lewis.
How we doing?
Jamie Peters Ennis says, I'll be honest, and Lewis knows this, I had my reservations on the Veloster, but with time and development, it'll be a regular winner. Proper bloke he is, and given the chance to do world touring cars, Lewis would be right up there. It's a nice vote of confidence, mate.
Yeah,
And,
I know Jamie quite well, actually. So, Jamie, thank you very much.
And
It's
Stephen
nice to see
says
you've got
best looking
confidence
as
in me.
well.
Stephen's my designer, so all these comments are just little digs. I know what Stephen's up to.
It's all on him. That's fine. Right, listen, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Have a fantastic race meeting. We'll catch up with you there, and hopefully Martin will be interviewing you in the assembly area afterwards as well.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Thank you very much for having me on. And yeah, just to add on, as Max said, anyone in the paddock that wants to come over and view the cars, I think most of the teams will be happy for you to have a little wander around and have a look at the cars. You know, I have people jump in and out of my car all the time for photos. We had it at Goodwood, so we had probably 400 or 500 people jumping in and out of it at Goodwood Festival of Speed. So yeah, if you're about and interested and you want to have a look at the only one in the UK, come and have a look at it, and yeah, have a look around, have a nose.
Isn't it so cool that the paddocks are back open again?
It is. It's brilliant. You know, it's motorsport wouldn't be what it is without the fans. We're a weird breed of people, motorsport people. All of us, including the drivers, teams, everyone. But at the same time, we are one big family. We're so closely knit. You know, you look at all the other sports, such as football, you've got such a big rivalry because of the different teams and the different clubs. Motorsport doesn't really have that. Yes, you have your favourite driver, but you don't want to see anyone do bad, really. You want to always make sure that they're doing well. So, yeah, it's one of those real nice family atmospheres.
Other than Max Verstappen fans, they seem a bit different these days, but that's another story. But no, you're absolutely right. And I'd forgotten until Stewart said it earlier that, yeah, last year it was still a closed paddock so that they couldn't get there. And it'll be great to have it back open. Tim Perry, one of our Mighty Orange Armors, says, aye, that we are, a unique breed. Agreed. Lewis, thank you so much for joining me, mate. Appreciate it. And the best of luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on. Yeah, I'll see you later.
All the best. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
So thank you for that. I have just had a message from Isaac, just a question about Cam and Mike. So I think he's missed the show, sadly, but we'll catch up with him on Saturday. He's a youngster and he's going great guns, and we'll look forward to speaking to him. So thank you to Stewart, obviously the boss and the promoter of TCR UK. We can't wait to see them back here again. Thank you to the two drivers that came on, and thank you that Isaac was going to come on. It was very last minute, so it was my fault that it was like literally probably about an hour before the show that I said, "Oh, can you come on?" I've been so mental busy this week that it was a struggle. I think that's given you all a flavour for just how exciting. You all know how amazing the TCR is going to be round Castle Combe. I've just been thrown away because my dad's just messaged, although from my daughter Lauren, who's down with grandparents. You're amazing as usual. Dawesy Boy is back, episode 61. That's my 10-year-old daughter's just put that. Love it. Yeah, you've now got an insight on some of the characters, some of how close this championship is. You know, Stewart talking about the fact that there's 10, maybe 15 of them that could win this. This is all getting to the fighty end of the championship. You know, if you look at it, that they've already taken on Alton Park International, Donington Park, Brands Hatch Indy Circuit, Alton Park Island was the last one. Here at Castle Combe, they then got two more after this. That's it. Donington Park National and the Snetterton. They can't drop any points from the Snetterton round. We are privileged now that we are in at the fighty point of this championship. So get yourself down to the circuit as soon as you can. They're the first characters out. They're 8:30. They're out for their practice. And then we've got the qualifying a little bit later. You've then got at the lunchtime, there will be a grid walk. And I know that's been really, really popular because, you know, it's not happened for a very long time, and they're going to be out there on the grid in enough time for you to get out there and wander around while they're on that grid. So it'll be absolutely brilliant to do that. So that's the TCR. We've also got, of course, you heard, and apologies, guys, I know I haven't mentioned as much about this, but Stewart was talking about the Milltek Sport Civic Cup. Just looks amazing. We've got, already said it, we've got Owen Hillman, in the Pro Alloys Racing, and Simon Norris, our very own Simon Norris, is out there. Of course, he's a champ at Castle Combe already, so he's out there in the 70 and 71, both teams run by Pro Alloys. 25 cars that will be out for that one, and it does include, in effect, 2 championships in one, because you've got the Cup class and the production class. And in terms of the championship standings, it's currently being led by Alistair Camp on 160 points, Matt Luff on 153, so that's only 7 points in that, and then Morgan Bailey on 124. They have 5 weekends over the course of the year that have 2 races, us included, and 2 race weekends where they've actually got 3. And out of those 16 races, 13 of the races count towards the final championship. So, you know, there's a lot to play for. Be interested to see, are we going to see a lap record from these guys as well? Because that stood since 2017. Rob Baker in an EP3 with a 1:15.6. I reckon that we'll see a lap record for this as well. So that, I'm really looking forward to seeing that. They're going to be fighting very hard. More tin tops out there are going to be really, really entertaining. In terms of our championships, we've got them all. Single headers for everything that's out there in our local championships. If we stay with tin tops for a second, we've got the Saloon Car Championship. I've got bits of paperwork everywhere. Let me grab the entry list, which are online now if you want to go and see them. In terms of the Saloon Car Championship, what are we at? 20 cars in our saloons as well now. That'll be great to see. The 2 TTs of Dave Spiller and Tony Hutchins. Harrison Chamberlain is McGann. Robert Ellick's back in his Golf as well. It's good to see sorted. Obviously, Adam Preble out in his very rapid Astra. Doesn't look like we've got Gary out at all this weekend, which is a shame. Tom Cook and Peter Elliston and Jack Bolton completing Class A. Class B, we've got Mark Wyatt out in his Vauxhall Astra. That's interesting. I thought he'd sold that. He's out there in it. That's good. He's obviously still trying to sell it. That's good to see. Stuart Cheeseman and Alexander Baldwin in Class B. James Keeping still holding proudly that number 1 on the side of his car. And championship-wise, he's looking good for defending at the moment. He's on 52 points compared to Adam Preble on 44. Tony Hutchins on 41. Anthony Weeks on 40. And Dave Spiller on 38. So it's really, really close in the championship at the moment. So, yeah, we've still got James Keeping, Roger Coods back out in his Fiesta, Stuart Hignall, John Lannon, Mark Sutton, James Blake, Lee Waterman out in their Class C cars. You just heard Mike Goods back out in the saloons this time in his course. He's got that sorted. So he's going to take on Anthony Weeks, which I'd imagine Anthony Weeks probably a bit gutted about, to be honest with you. But good from our side of things. Keeping with the solid roofs as well, we've got the hot hatches, and obviously theirs isn't a championship; it's still a series as it stands at the moment. And we've got 27 cars out in our hot hatches. Absolutely brilliant. Mike Wyatt, Nick Gwinnett, Julian Fisher, Matthew Herman out in the Civic FD2R, Robert Watson, Craig Flemings, Dan Williams in the Fiesta, and Jamie Bigwood, John Barnard, Lewis Clark, Daniel Rowe, Jonathan Fish, and Alexander Baldwin, all out in Class A. Class B, Sean Govard, Ray Ferguson, Emilia Vincent. Class C, Jake Olden, good, he is back out. Lewis Bird, good, he's back out. The 2 Saxos there. Sean Deacon, Joe Hathaway. Class E, the minis, of course. Daniel Williams, Paul Bird, Paul Dickinson, Darren Duffield, James Cantfer. And then rounded out Class F, Matthew Johnston and Chris Southcott out in his Honda Civic EK9. That'll be good. Hopefully he gets a bit more luck with that one. Still keeping a roof on some of the cars. The GTs, 14 cars. Got 14 cars out there, so that's good news. I know we've had a couple that have not gone well, and this intrigues me. We've got Matthew Brennan in the Ford Escort 1998 in Class B. Class B, Lee Wood in a Ford Escort RSR 2.3. Peugeot 206, Ruben Taylor, Mark Sear in a Ginetta, and Alan Hamilton out in his Westfield, all in Class B. Class C, David Harrison in a Porsche 991 GT3 Cup car. Keith Butcher out in his Audi R8. Jeremy Cook in his E92 GT4 Beamer. And Kevin Bird back out in his Porsche 991 Carrera Cup car. Class D, Ray Ferguson in his Ferrari 355 Berlinetta. Good to see that Ferrari nut Ray Ferguson. Keith Johnson is Ginetta G50. Another TCR car, Jamie Sturgis out in his Golf TCR car, the Ram Air Filters sponsored car. Class E, Alexander Baldwin in his Civic, and Dominic Shepherd's back with his Audi Super Tourer GT. I love that car. It's so intriguing. So he'll be out. Formula Fords, and I know we did just have their message. Julie Atwood said, good luck to everyone for Saturday. Good luck, Solely Motorsport and Kieran Atwood, and happy birthday for Sunday to Kieran. Okay. I need to try and remember that. Remind me, Julie, when we get into Saturday, that it's Kieran's on the Sunday. Obviously, we're all done on the Saturday. Kieran has impressed me so much this year in the Formula Fords. What is he? Third in the overall standings as it stands in the moment. Really, really promising. Luke Cooper, Vincent J, Felix Fisher, Tom Hawkins, Adam Higgins back in Class A. Kieran Atwood, James Colburn and Ben Mitchell all out in Class A cars. Class B, Nathan Ward still looking to defend his title. Paul Barnes, Paul Mason, Samuel Street and James Rose. Class C, Michael Phillips, Richard Earl, David Cobbold, Steve Bracegirdle. Class D, wow, we got 5 cars in Class D. Steve Bracegirdle. He's in the Class C, sorry. Peter Lavender, Alan Slater, Alicia Hamlin, Peter Hannum and Sam Mitchell all out in Class D cars. 22 cars in the Castle Combe Formula 4 Championship. That is currently being led by Luke Cooper. Remember, he's won that championship before. He's looking to go for it again. He's on 117. Felix Fisher so deserves a championship, doesn't he? Triple 111 points for him, 104 for Kieran Atwood. Class A being led by Felix Fisher, Class B by Nathan Wards, Class C by David Cobbold, and Ben Mitchell's currently leading Class D at the moment. Also, a massive shout out and a big good luck shout out to obviously the Mighty Minis. They are obviously looked after by Castle Combe Racing Club. They're at Brands Hatch this weekend, which is where I would normally be for the mini festival. But obviously, priority is Castle Combe always. They've got a nice, healthy grid that are going to be taking part in the mini festival at Brands Hatch over the course of the weekend. So good luck to all the Mighty Mini drivers and enjoy it. For the racing drivers amongst us, the Dave Allen Trophy race in association with ME7, that is taking place on the Bank Holiday Monday at the end of August, August 29th. Remember, of course, that is in memory of former Honda test and race driver Dave Allen, designed to enable a very wide variety, and isn't that the truth, of cars to race at the same time, with everyone having an equal chance of winning their respective class. This year's race has the addition of sponsorship money of £100 for the outright winner, plus £100 for a class win, generously supplied by ME7 Limited. Additionally, it gives an affordable opportunity to sample endurance racing. Eligible cars are any sports, saloon, GT or touring car of any engine capacity. It doesn't include sports racing cars, sports prototypes, open-wheeled or single-seater racing cars, sadly. But it's £295 to enter, plus £30 if you add on a second driver. So add £30 on, split that between two. That's what it's going to cost. 40-minute race, pit stop. Going to be absolutely amazing. So if you're already registered on RevUp, go and enter now. It's open. Get yourself in. Let's have some fun. Let's really go for it with this one. It'll be brilliant. If you're not registered on RevUp yet, email the circuit or the racing club, ccclub.co.uk. I'll sort it out for you and get you registered, and it'll be great to do it. Final thing from me is don't forget is that, in fact, hopefully, have I got it open somewhere? Let me just see if I have. You go to bring this up. Actually, it's not showing me the web page, is it? So let me. It is ccracingclub.co.uk. Go onto the calendar, and you'll find that the 70th Celebration and Racing Club 2022 Awards, Saturday, the 12th of November. You can buy tickets right now. You can also buy a whole table. You can also look at the sponsorship packages. If there's organizations that want to get involved and sponsor there is a whole event prospectus and sponsorship opportunities. And these flyers and posters are up everywhere that you see it. It's at Aerospace Bristol. Look at that photo. Concorde is going to be above us. I cannot wait to be on that stage that you see, all twilight lit up in there, to host the awards with all those tables. Let's make it a massive event. Let's celebrate all you champions, all you competitors, everyone that's been associated. And it's not just the racing drivers this year. Spectators, marshals, all of you can get yourself along to this. Get yourself a ticket. Let's make this a night to remember. 12th of November. I cannot wait to host this again. Everyone knows that at the end of the year, I end up hosting a number of championship awards dues, and it's something I absolutely adore to do. And we're going to have some serious fun. It should, of course, been 2 years ago, the 70th, so it's now 70 plus 2. But we've got to do it. It's 6:30. Time to have a tour of the Concord. It's just quite amazing. We went and checked it out. There will be an arrival drink. There will be the whole gallery below, if I go to the bottom again, where we've got the table set up. Once we finish the awards as well, entertainment's going to carry on until 1 a.m. Complimentary car parking. And, it's then try and get a taxi to the hotels. There's several hotels in the local area. It's going to be amazing. But have a look. If you have an organized company or somebody you want to recommend, there are some great sponsorship opportunities to get involved where you can sponsor different bits and pieces to do with it, just to take it to another level, and you'll get so much publicity from this event because it is a big deal. We're looking forward to it. I think we're hoping for like 300 people or something crazy like that at this event. So go and have a look. That is on the ccracingclub.co.uk website. Go to the calendar where you'd normally get all the race meets. It is down there as its standalone event, and we'll see you there. From all of us at Castle Combe, we can't wait to see you all at the circuit. I think it's going to be a big crowd that's going to be there. Let me remove this again. Phil Kinch says, looking forward to the grid walk, open to the public at lunchtime on Saturday. Absolutely it is. Goose says, what a great show, Chris. Well done, mate. It's been stonking. I've got to try and get that into my commentary on the weekend. I haven't used that for years, mate. Even with the connection, Stewart Lines will have stonking. Isn't that is that a Brummie word, Stuart? I can see you back there. Is that from your neck of the woods, stonking? There's a thumbs up. Even with the connection dipping out, can't wait for Saturday. Emma, you've already been answered your question. That's fine. That's largely it from all of us here on Combe TV. Thank you so much. Stuart, wait there for a minute, because once I knock this offline, you and I can then just very quickly talk as soon as you're there. But everybody else, have a very good evening. We'll see you on Saturday for what is going to be an absolutely fantastic race meet. See you soon.
Becoming a racing driver has never been easier with Castle Combe Circuit. Book your Arts Novice Drivers Training course at the Wiltshire venue today. The easiest and quickest way into competitive on-track action.
Welcome to Castle Combe. My name's Alan Cooper. I'm the Chief Driving Racing Instructor here at this circuit. We're here today to do the Novice Driver Training course, often known as the ARDS course, which is the first way to start off and get your racing driving licence. So, no further ado, let's get on and show you what's involved.
So you've seen the format. Everyone here today passed their tests and now have their racing licence. Who knows? The next time I see them could be as I commentate on them in front of the usual packed house of racing fans here at Castle Combe Circuit. All you need to do to be next is to visit castlecombecircuit.co.uk and select Become a Racing Driver under the Racing tab. Becoming a racing driver is easier than you think with Castle Combe Circuit and Motorsport UK.